Can I get a 5-star rating? Why anything less than perfection is a failure online. Hi there, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Plain English. I'm Jeff. JR is the producer, and you can find this lesson at plainenglish.com/419. You can sign up for a free membership right from the homepage at plainenglish.com. If you're already there, then you know where to find everything. Your dashboard is a great place to start. The libraries at the top of the page can also help you explore older lessons. Like a fine wine, they just get better with age, right? That's all at plainenglish.com. Well, coming up today, why do we always give 5 stars? It's because a 5-star rating doesn't give you 5 choices. That's why. On most online platforms, there are only 2 choices that matter: 5 stars or anything else. We'll talk about what that means, and we have a few ideas for how to fix the system too. The English expression we'll review today is rave about, and we have a song of the week. Let's get started. My Uber driver from the Cincinnati airport was driving an old car that smelled. The back seat was uncomfortable. The driver was talking on an earpiece the whole time. His seat was reclined to a point where he couldn't possibly be responsive to an emergency on the road. It was an unpleasant flashback to the days of taking normal taxis. As I was about to get out, the driver, who had not spoken to me the whole time, told me. He didn't ask me. He told me to give him a 5-star rating. I was generous, so I gave him 4 stars. In my mind, the correct rating was a 2. However, in the world of online reviews, 5 stars means excellent, good, average, or acceptable. 4 stars means terrible. 3 stars means the person should be in jail. I exaggerate, but only by a little. Somehow, we've gotten to a point where 5 stars is the only acceptable rating. I recently stayed in an Airbnb apartment in Hungary. There was a big sign telling me, the guest, that Airbnb considers anything below a 5-star review to be a negative review. Therefore, the host was telling me a 5-star review was expected as long as nothing was wrong. I was happy with my Airbnb experience, but I didn't love being told to give a 5-star review. Still, it's not the host's fault. Indeed, platforms like Uber and Airbnb do punish providers that earn anything less than 5 stars. The 5-star rating system is supposed to be better or more granular than just a thumbs up or thumbs down rating system, but it's clearly not. The only two options are 5 stars and not 5 stars. As such, the system does do a good job of identifying the truly bad actors. That driver in Cincinnati got 4 stars. That's terrible, and that's what he deserved. Where the 5-star system fails is in differentiating between good and excellent, or between mediocre and good. That's not always very important. The stakes are relatively low when booking an Uber ride. If the driver is safe, who cares if your 5-minute ride is average? Did you really need that bottle of water? But sometimes we rely on platforms for more serious things. Upwork, Fiverr, and Clutch work similarly. On those sites, individuals and businesses hire other people to do work for them. It could be simple, like designing a logo, or much more involved. I've engaged contractors on Upwork with full 5-star ratings. And as soon as they start working for me, it's clear that they're well below average. It costs me money and time to dismiss that worker and then find someone adequate. On platforms like that, small differences in quality matter. Truly good performers can't stand out from the crowd if every acceptable job gets 5 stars. Reviewers struggle with the distribution of ratings and the lack of definitions. What should be the difference between 4 and 5 stars? What does 3-star service even look like? This isn't well defined anywhere, so we don't really have any guidelines to tell us when to give 4 stars and when to give 5. We also want to be nice to people we deal with. If someone does a good job, not great, but good, I still feel some social pressure to give 5 stars because I like the person and I want the best for him or her. These two factors, the lack of definition and the social pressure to be nice, they work together to push the average ratings upward on most platforms. What can we do as consumers? Let's say I'm looking to book an Airbnb. There are times when all I need is a bed and a bathroom. I have plans to do other things out of the unit all day, and I don't care much about the accommodations. Other times, I know I'll be working in the unit or spending a lot of time inside. In those cases, I want something better. But if every unit is rated 5 stars, then the ratings are not helpful. The best option for me as a consumer is to read the text of the reviews, especially the long ones. From skimming positive and negative reviews, I can get a sense of what people specifically liked. Sometimes what they don't say is also important. If everybody raves about the location, but nobody says how comfortable the bed is, well, that's also good information. Bad reviews, ironically, are a good guide too. I once read a 1-star review for a unit that was on the 3rd floor of an old building. The reviewer gave it 1 star because there wasn't an elevator. That's good information, but if that's the worst thing about that unit, I'll take it. The stairs were in the description, by the way. Most platforms give the owners a chance to respond too. The tone of the response can be a good guide to your experience. I prefer owners that are polite but firm. If an owner gets into an all caps online shouting match with a former customer, then I stay away. A little bit of snark is okay, though, at times. On the flip side, if the owner is too apologetic, then I also start to wonder. This strategy helps me as a consumer, but it doesn't solve the problem of online ratings overall. A group of researchers posted in the Harvard Business Review about ways to design star ratings so that, taken together, they're more useful for consumers. Here are some of their ideas. First, instead of just showing a star rating for a provider, platforms should show where that rating falls in the distribution of similar providers. If an Uber driver is rated on average 4.5, is that good? There's no way to know unless we know how that compares to all other drivers in the area. If you place that on a sliding scale, then we'll know if 4.5 is excellent or terrible. A similar idea is to tag providers who are within the top, say, 10% of their peers. Airbnb does this with its superhost title. But both these ideas are just different ways of displaying the existing flawed ratings scale. Another proposal is to publish guidelines on what each star means, and then remind reviewers about the distribution of their reviews. For example, let's say JR and I are both Uber riders. He always gives 5 stars no matter what. I like to give 3 stars for an average ride, 4 stars for a good ride, and I only give 5 stars if the service is exceptional. Well, the system can remind JR to use 3 and 4-star reviews more often and remind him about the definitions. Over time, a system can give more weight to customers who use the full scale. A ratings system like that would give my ratings more weight because I'm known to use the full scale, and that would bring the average rating down from the stratosphere. There's also no reason why reviews have to be so one-dimensional. The reviews could ask things like, was the ride comfortable? Or did you feel safe? Or what did you like or dislike the most? The questions could be generated randomly, so you don't always see the same question each time. This would allow a consumer to answer the question truthfully without the social pressure to give 5 stars. In fact, Airbnb is starting to do that. As a customer, I found myself much more willing to leave honest feedback in response to a specific question. It felt much less judgmental toward the host, who honestly did a nice job. Now, I just hope that feedback can be used to help future travelers. A lot of attention has been paid to fake reviews, especially on Amazon. Amazon is a whole other story. I heard a podcast once about Amazon sellers that harass reviewers who leave anything other than 5 stars. But set aside the fake reviews. It's these legitimate 5-star reviews for less than 5-star service. That's what I think is more misleading. The other way star ratings are manipulated is when businesses survey their audience. Have you ever gotten a quick question asking, "Are you happy with this or that service?" If you rate it highly, then they send you a helpful link to leave a review. If you say no, you're not happy, yeah, you're not getting that link to leave a review. To rave about something is to speak enthusiastically and positively about it. I came home from Europe raving about Budapest. I had such a nice time there. I loved the architecture. The Hungarian Parliament building is stunning during the day and beautiful at night. The food was very good and very international. The thermal baths were relaxing. The castles were majestic. The ruin bars were fun. The beers were cheap. The company was good too. I had a friend from Chicago who was visiting at the same time, and I met with a number of plain English listeners who made the trip a lot of fun. Oh, and the public transit was extremely efficient and easy to navigate. And don't get me started on the chimney cakes. Guess what I'm doing? I'm raving about Budapest. I'm speaking positively and enthusiastically about it. I have only good things to say. You can rave about the food at a new restaurant. You can rave about a new movie or TV show. You can rave about the service you've gotten from a person or a business. You can also rave about an experience. All of these are examples of things you can speak positively and enthusiastically about. That last part is important. It has to be enthusiastic. There has to be energy in your voice. When you rave about something, you're not just saying the words. You're putting feeling and emotion in what you are saying. I read a lot of books. I read a lot of good books, but I don't rave about a lot of them. The last book I raved about was called All the Light We Cannot See. I could not stop talking about it. It was surprising because I hadn't wanted to read that book. I had read the first chapter maybe 3 or 4 times, and I always put the book down. It was one of those books that I thought I should read, but I just never had the motivation to read it. Well, one time I got past the first chapter and I was hooked. I just loved the story and the writing was beautiful. I finished the book in a couple of days and I was raving about it to anyone who would listen. You have to read this book, I kept saying. There was energy in my voice. I was a passionate advocate for this book. I still am. All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. Well, do you remember how you heard it earlier? I was talking about online reviews. In some Airbnb reviews, everyone raves about the location, but nobody says anything about the comfort of the unit or the bed. If everyone raves about the location, they loved the location. Everyone raved about the location of my Airbnb in Budapest, and rightly so. It was in the middle of everything, but the unit was quiet. What does it tell you if everyone raves about the location, but they don't say anything about the comfort of the bed? Well, maybe that bed isn't exactly 5 stars. If that's important to you, you should look for units where people rave about the comfort of the bed and the furniture. For me, I'd rather stay where people are raving about the location. I'm a deep sleeper. I can sleep on a wooden board if I need to. This week's song is The Ledge by Mary Gauthier. The song is about 20 years old. I've heard it on and off over the years, but never paid attention to the lyrics. Listening to the song and reading the lyrics now, I think she's describing the sensation of being emotionally closed off to the whole world. The lyrics say, I couldn't love, could not forgive. I didn't know how to live and let live. So that's today's song, The Ledge by Mary Gauthier. And that's all for today's Plain English. And thanks again for being part of this amazing community of listeners and English learners around the world. Remember, PlainEnglish.com is the place to get even more of your favorite lessons. You can explore by category, listen to all the old lessons, practice with quizzes, read the transcripts, and more, all at PlainEnglish.com, and all for free. But if you're looking to upgrade your English, then you're of course welcome to join us at Plain English Plus, and that's where you can join JR and me on a live Zoom call, watch our hundreds of video lessons, listen to the fast version of this lesson, practice your vocabulary, test yourself with specialized quizzes, and more. We offer a lot more than just the audio lesson, that's for sure. Check that out at plainenglish.com/plus, PLUS. And we will see you right back here on Monday.